أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him, we acknowledge that He is the only one worthy and deserving of all praise and thanks, and we ask Him to shower His most complete and abundant blessings and protection upon His noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his noble family, upon his shining companions, and upon all of those that follow them until the end of time. And we ask Allah to include us from among them. We ask Allah to teach us what will benefit us, to benefit us through what He has taught us, and to increase us in knowledge and accepted actions. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying these last 10 beautiful nights of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us take the most advantage to make these last 10 nights as fruitful and productive as possible. Ameen. Today in our session, we will be looking at a tiny snippet from the 27th juz of the Qur'an, which can be found in Surah At-Tur, wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who believed and their descendants, their offspring, followed them in faith, what will be their result? What will be their consequence? We will join their offspring with them. We will join their descendants with them, connect them together, reunite them together in Jannah. And we will not diminish any of their actions in any way at all, in any way, shape, or form. This is a passage in the Qur'an wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the muttaqun, the people who have the ultimate consciousness and awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a consciousness and an awareness that manifests itself in people believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and rushing to His commandments when He commands something and staying away from His prohibitions when He prohibits something. This consciousness and mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not merely an internal exercise, but it actually manifests itself on the outward characteristics, behavior, actions, and deeds. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to do something, these muttaqun rush to do it. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits something, these muttaqun stay away from it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in describing these people of ultimate God consciousness, He's describing that they will get Jannah, they will get paradise. And He's in this list of talking about all the blessings that will be therein, all the enjoyments and all the pleasures that will be therein. And this is where our ayah that we discussed comes up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing that one feature, one defining characteristic of these people of God consciousness is what? Not only do they themselves believe, but their descendants and their offspring also believe. Not just by chance, not just by luck, but rather these people who have taqwa, they take active steps. They are actively involved in their offspring's lives. They are actively involved in teaching their children, in teaching their grandchildren, in setting up their offspring for success in the hereafter. They are the ones who will be receiving this beautiful reward of not only being in Jannah themselves, but also being reunited with their offspring, having their descendants, their children, their grandchildren, people that come even afterwards, to have them all be reunited together in Jannah. One big happy family in the ultimate pleasure and place, which is paradise. So this is a really beautiful ayah in the Qur'an, a really beautiful passage, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining to us that faith and iman and belief and all of these beautiful things when it comes to our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not a solo exercise. Rather, we are taught in multiple places in the Qur'an that yes, we look after ourselves, but we also look after those who are closest to us. And for us, that is our family. In another place in the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Believers, guard yourselves and your families from the fire. Don't just worry about your own hereafter. Have enough love, have enough care to worry about your families as well. Do whatever is within your capacity to protect your family from the fire as well. In yet another place in the Qur'an, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Ismail alayhi salam, one of the characteristics and qualities of Ismail alayhi salam was وَكَانَ يَأْمُرُ أَهْلَهُ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ, that he would advise and command his family to pray and give zakah, to give charity. He would encourage and advise and command and direct his family to also join him in prayer, to also join him in giving charity. So we have this relatively recurring theme in the Qur'an where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that your family is also your responsibility to teach, to educate, to guide, to encourage, to have them be attached to this faith as well. And I think it's really important for us to really reflect upon why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about family in specific when it comes to those people whom we are encouraged to guide towards the faith as well. And I think it's because we have so many different definitions and notions and different ways of viewing and embodying love in our day and age. You know, there's the 5 love languages, and there's so many different ways in which people view what true love is. What does it mean to truly love someone? But here in the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what true love actually really is. Sure, there might be other ways of manifesting it, but if you truly love someone, and for all of us, for most of us, we hope that we have true love for our families first and foremost. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that actual true love is caring about your family's state in the hereafter. Yes, you can show love in this life by getting them nice things, by spending quality time, by doing whatever it takes to make them happy in the moment. But if you truly love your family, if you want to show them the true, actual, genuine, raw, unadulterated love that is not polluted by any of the ills of our society in our day and age, what is that true love? By caring about their hereafter, by caring about their state in the true life, which is the life to come. And the way that we demonstrate that true love, that we care about what they are going to meet in the hereafter, is by being agents of encouraging faith, encouraging iman, encouraging those things that will bring a person closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through prayer, through zakah, through charity, through remembering Allah, through reciting the Qur'an, through learning, through embodying the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by following the Sunnah. There are so many avenues in which a person can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which a person can increase their faith. Our job is to embody those ourselves, and secondly, to also encourage our families, to get our families also on board. If we see family members that might be off the tracks a little bit, it is our responsibility to, with wisdom and with tact, right? We can't just jump in and do something that's going to be negative or harmful in the long run, but with wisdom, with tact, to bring them closer to Islam, to bring them closer to Allah, to bring them closer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is a sign that we truly love our family members. And as Surah Al-Tur tells us, if we put in that hard work, it's not easy. It's very easy for me to be sitting alone in this room and talking to a camera, but it's very difficult when you're actually trying to bring your family members close to Islam, when you're trying to bring your family members closer to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not easy. There's a lot of emotional layers. There's a lot of tiptoeing around sensitive areas. There's a lot of wisdom and tact that's required to bring family close. But if we are willing to go through that hard work, if we are willing to shoulder that heavy burden of bringing our family members closer to this faith, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that beautiful reward of being reunited with them in the most beautiful place, in the most amazing of environments, in Jannah, in paradise, where we will be enjoying all of the fruits and all of the enjoyments and all of the pleasures and relaxation and being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will be enjoying all of that with our family, with our descendants, with our offspring, if we are willing to put in that hard work to bring them closer to Islam. And of course, that begins with, first and foremost, ourselves being close to Islam and Iman to begin with. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be the best believers that we can possibly be. And once we have a strong foundation in our faith, to then also call our family members and bring our family members closer to Him as well. Ameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu wa la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wa sallallahu ala khayri khalqika Muhammad, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.